The history of signwriting is quite long, but it comes into its own in about the second half of the 18th century. Signwriting is gradually, like a lot of other things, like craft bakeries and other things, signwriting is beginning to make a comeback. And this young lady, for example, is one of the has got caught up in it.
I always saw it as the purest sort of form of advertising. That's where it started. Is you want someone to come into your shop, you put an A board outside. And now I'm in Edinburgh, and I found Robin, and he's a brilliant signwriter. So I always thought it was interesting, and it seems you can make a living out of it. So I asked to be trained up.
I did a art college. I did a course on letterpress printing, which is printing with lead type and wooden type, and it gives you a tremendous grounding in what's making you look at individual letters and see what's to be done. The only thing that doesn't change is change. There's always something new, something different. We very rarely do a job twice. People have stopped saying to me, but vinyl's cheaper. Yeah. I just say, well, this is something else. This isn't meant to rival vinyl for cheapness, you know. And I like to quote a quotation I saw on the side of a lorry 40 years ago in Birmingham, and it said, "Quality is remembered long after price is forgotten." So what you actually do is put two lines first. You put the top on the bottom with chalk on it, and you do that. And then where you think you want the letters, you do it all by eye, and a line to show you where the shading's got to come. And then you draw them on like skeletons, and then paint them on by building them up until you get to this correct thickness, and you've already got the shape of all the letters in your head. And it's I always liken it to jazz. There are several basic themes, and you play infinite variations on these themes, and sometimes it's brilliant, but always it's competent. What we do it with is the time-honoured brushes, which are here. These are the workhorses of the job, and these particular ones these predate the metal ones by several thousand years. Ultrafine work such as honours boards and inscriptions and illuminations and things like that. So and they're the finest Kaminsky. They're nearly all sable, one or two of camel hair. Some are a mixture of ox and sable, which makes them springier. And that's what we principally work with. Now we need some lightish coloured paint, which is, we'll put in that little dipper there. Now I think we'll do pale blue on the dark blue. If excuse me, young lady, Anik, that's lovely. Should be a paler blue than that somewhere. Oh well. Never mind. Let's use this. Even this is historic. This is there was a firm, well they're still going, they're called Craig and Rose, and they made their money. They developed a special paint for painting the Forth Bridge. Line, this is most important. You put a centre line, even if you're not going to necessarily centre the lettering, but it just helps to break up the area you're going to use. The thing you have to remember about doing lettering by hand is the spacing between the letters is crucial. But let's suppose we're doing the word Charlie by any chance. C-H-A-R-L-E-Y, 7 letters. So the fourth letter will almost certainly come in the middle. So C-H-A-R. So you can start in the middle and work outwards. So if you start here and just draw these on very quickly. And do the E and the L have to be the same width. And this is CHA. Do that. H, just don't want to, because you can still, at this point, of course, you can still alter the relative widths of all the letters. I think the H would come about there. Just, you need this to be the same width as the C, the thickest part of the C. You just come down here. Like so. And it doesn't matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed. Two of the serifs will be awkward. That's still not quite thick enough, is it? So you just see building up the letter all the time rather than going for it in a oneer. If you're just doing the one style all the time, you'll be able to get far quicker at doing the one style, but you wouldn't be able to do it. You'd be very slow at doing anything else. And then start here. Come down like that. And you put the crossbar just above the halfway line. You put, in fact, you can sit it on the halfway line, like that. If you put it bang on halfway, it looks slightly low. Something that was actually done by the earliest Roman people when they had the Runic Alphabet, which is just to make this one just a beak, it's called. Like that. You just do gentle strokes, especially when you put the just solidifying the colour a bit like that. You just stroke it on very gently, bring it down here, and then bring that, and you twist the brush as you go across so it ends up there. I think just do that a little bit more pointed and just leaning down a bit. Then you do this crossbar about the same as about the same thickness as the one on the H, but you can, in fact, if you like, you can just do the lower part of the crossbar like a little bridge. In fact, that probably ought to be the same, actually. There we are. That looks nicer, doesn't it? Learning the spacing is as important as learning the lettering. And of course there's far more combinations of spaces than there are letters. That's without thinking about numerals. You get it as near as possible to the L to minimize that space there. Concentrate. There. There again, it doesn't matter if it touches the L, actually. Just get it upright. There we are. Paint required. Bring that round there. And then you just have to get so that space, you have to get all the spaces looking the same. And so you could be a bit careful with Y, but you just... I think the Romans only had 20 or 21 letters, and it was, and of course the Romans didn't use any numerals that we use. They've come to us from India via the Arab peoples, and we still call them Arabic numerals. Let me just do that. How's that?
It's a bit intense, wasn't it? It's a bit intense.
As long as you can keep talking, you're all right. If somebody said, "Can you do this in total silence?" you go,